What's up peeps, Roxcall here. Since we recently got the Bounty Hunter Freya added to the game, I thought it would be a fun idea to look at every single hero that's currently in Overwatch 2 to guess and compare how high their bounties are. Just so we're clear, a bounty is a sum paid for the killing or capturing of a person. I'm definitely no expert when it comes to laws and such, but I'll be doing my best going off of every character's past to see what governments, groups, and or organizations they might have made angry to earn them a bounty. I should know that this will be considering the total bounty for each hero, and not a bounty from a specific organization. For example, if a hero has a town bounty and a government bounty, I'll be combining them for the ranking. Also, I'm not going to be putting the specific bounty price for every hero's bounty, because I mean, how the heck am I even supposed to know that? First, we'll start out with heroes who I wouldn't think have a bounty at all in their heads. Beginning with, of course, Iliari, who I believe just nobody knows of her existence, really. She seems to hide away after that whole accident with her civilization, so it's hard to say she would even have a bounty on her. The only person who seems to know about her is Soldier, but trust me, he wouldn't be putting out bounties in his current state. Junker Queen is a weird one for me, as this really depends on how much of the Australian government exists and knows about the Junkers. There seems to be little to no evidence of it after the whole Omnium exploding radiating the Outback thing, and even if they did exist, they don't seem to care at all what the Junkers are doing, or else we would probably see more action taking place. If they do know, then I could definitely see Junker Queen having a pretty high bounty. Next is Symmetra, who just doesn't have a reason to have any sort of bounty on her currently, as she still is and plans to be a part of Vishkar. She always has been iffy about the whole thing, but as long as she stays with them, Vishkar or any other group won't be going out of their way to put on some big bounty. Low bounties go to those I couldn't think of anything major for, but I still think might have some sort of price on them. Starting out, we have Torbjorn, who had some pretty major involvement with Overwatch in the past, and also helped design a mech that literally destroyed a city. Luckily, he helped destroy this mech, and now he spends his days in Gothenburg with his family. I still do think he could have a bounty on his head for all of his involvement, and not to mention him taking in a Bastion unit which was hated by humanity for the longest time. That Bastion unit going on to join Overwatch, which is considered illegal, doesn't help his case much either. Next, we got this big list of heroes who are all here for a similar reason, joining Overwatch. What they did previously, from what we know, wouldn't get much of a bounty on them, but joining Overwatch definitely has some people turning their heads now. To order these, I'd probably say Juno at the bottom because she isn't even from Earth, and Echo at the top due to her strong connection with Dr. Liao. Rest are interchangeable in my opinion. Venture, I'd assume, may have gained some kind of bounty because of the whole interaction with Talon. Venture blasted a lot of Talon soldiers there, and literally stole an artifact straight out of Maga's hands. This would probably get the attention of Talon as a whole to get some sort of bounty on Venture. Kiriko, I wouldn't imagine having a major bounty price, but messing with the Hashimoto so much, I bet she definitely has some sort of bounty. The Hashimoto are a pretty rich and large criminal organization from what we've seen, so it's hard to imagine them not having a bounty on Kiriko. Sigma is an odd one because while he is a part of Talon, a terrorist organization, it's unknown how much of the missions he takes part of. His powers are strong, but he seems to lack control. If we saw more evidence of Sigma taking part in Talon missions, he'd probably be ranked higher. But for now, I'm gonna just put our insane boy near the top of this tier. Freya I'm actually gonna put at the top of this tier, as I do actually see the bounty hunter having her own bounty because of the interference with multiple criminal organizations and important individuals in general. If she succeeds in hunting down Emre, or more people recognize she was a part of Overwatch, I could see this being even higher. In the decent bounty tier, this goes to heroes that may have a long history of little things that kind of add up making their bounty higher. We have Bastion on the bottom, who may have people looking at his way already for joining Overwatch when it's considered illegal. The Bastion units were also super common combatants during the first Omnic crisis, so those Omnic haters may be looking to put a bounty on the Bastion unit to eliminate his kind for good. Mercy, Reinhardt, and Tracer are all around the same spot for me here. They were all previous members of Overwatch, and now rejoined back into the organization, which is illegal. The previous experiences with the organization makes me think they'd all have a higher bounty than most. Hanzo and Genji I decided to put together due to their history in the Shimada clan, a criminal organization. I'd wager they both have some kind of bounty on their heads with this alone, but Hanzo probably has more because he was supposed to be the runner-up as leader. Genji's history with Overwatch, though, makes it more even. Him joining back definitely doesn't help this case either. Breaking Ball is definitely another odd case of a hero where, as I mentioned with Junker Queen, his placement could vary depending on how much the Australian government knows about the Junkers. Being the champ, he'd be involved with a lot of the Junkers' doings. His past with the Lunar Colony is why I have him higher up here, as his infiltration into Liu Chang Interstellar might be putting some price on his head now, especially interacting with Dr. Chow herself and sparing her. Tiana could see having a pretty high bounty due to having a strong connection to Mandata. Although he's not a part of the Shambali anymore, he still spreads his messages he learned from it worldwide. We can see Talon already gained a strong interest in him with that end teaser in the PvE, but I doubt he would have as high of a price for a bounty like Mandata did. It also isn't like he did anything illegal really. Unless. It is unknown if the general public know about Moira as a part of Talon, but we do know a lot of people know about the lengths she goes with her experiments. This overall negative reputation, along with the pretty likely illegal stuff she was doing with the vanadium, it caused a pretty decent bounty overall. We get to the high bounties now, where they typically have done a lot of things that really stack up. Starting out at the bottom, we have Lucio. Due to his past rebellions, I'm certain Vishkar would have some sort of bounty on him. And it seems like Talon has an interest too, even with them crashing one of his events. Now that he did the illegal move of joining Overwatch straight up, this makes the bounty even higher, putting him in this this tier. Next up is Ana. She was originally a part of Overwatch, and it is actually confirmed in this interaction that Talon has put up a pretty dang high bounty for her.
Hey, Cassidy, want to know the bounty Talon had on you?
Higher or lower than the one on Amari?
Lower.
Damn it.
I know Baptiste says that her bounty is higher than Cassidy's, but I'll explain later why I think his is overall higher. Ash is obviously going to be a really dang high bounty, being the leader of one of the biggest crime gangs, the Deadlock Rebels. I do still think a lot of people are above her though, as she hasn't done anything super major when it comes to her heist, I'd say, at least compared to other events going on in this world. Hazard is pretty similar, being a very well-known criminal, but his heist and rebellious nature seem to be a bit more major in scale with his freak gang. They are seen on the news, and that whole vanadium heist also seemed to stir up a lot of attention, which puts a pretty high bounty on his head, I bet. Now Cassidy, as I mentioned, would probably have an even higher bounty than Ana, as he not only actively participated in Deadlock gang activities, but also joined Overwatch and participated in Blackwatch. After its fall, he joins back in the recall. So not only does Talon have a high bounty as shown by the Baptiste interaction, but he's probably got a really high one from the government itself due to his past and current doings. Soldier and Soldier, I'd imagine, have some big prices on them with Talon due to being very important members in the OG Overwatch. A thing that would also add on to this is them being vigilantes. And as shown by the Soldier and animated short, local governments don't like that very much. At the top of this tier is going to be all the infamous Talon members. Maga, Reaper, and Widowmaker have all greatly involved themselves with the terrorist Talon organization, and definitely have earned some pretty high bounties due to their crimes. I'd assume Widowmaker may have the highest because of her assassination of Mandata, but a good argument could be made for Reaper too, due to just the sheer amount of people he most likely killed, and being an important part of Overwatch in the past. All the MUNEH tier goes to heroes that are typically leaders of major organizations slash groups, or just highly valued individuals in general. Starting out, we have Baptiste, who wasn't really a leader when it came to being a part of Talon, but still Talon constantly seems to be going after him. It's mainly just the lengths they go to getting him back are nuts compared to most other heroes, which makes me think he must have an insane bounty on his head from Talon. On top of all of that, he's a part of Overwatch now too, which is illegal. You know, Lifeweaver is wanted in 17 different countries, and his rich parents seem to likely be putting some super high bounties to return on Vishkar. He didn't hold a super important position in Vishkar from what we know, but still I bet his parents put a crap ton on him in these different countries, putting him in this tier. If you know their lore just a little bit, Junkrat and Roadhog are obvious top spots here, committing major robberies and causing terror all around the globe. I would also assume Junkrat may have a bit of a higher price because of him being the mastermind. He also actually shows his face, unlike Roadhog, making it easy to put a price on a wand posted for him, I'd assume. Winston and Doomfist, I'd assume, would be in a similar boat, with them both being leaders of major, currently illegal, organizations. I'd obviously assume Doomfist would have a higher price because of him running a literal terrorist organization, but I'd also assume Winston would have a high price too because of how much Overwatch was hated and scrutinized. He also could get a bounty from Liu Chang, who know he survived the whole uprising on the moon. Next up, we have of course Ramatra, most likely having a super high bounty globally, as being a leader of an Omnic revolution group definitely causes a major concern for most governments. He said himself that he doesn't pay much attention to humanity's laws, but I think it's safe to assume he'd be super wanted now, with him kind of showing his face in those messages to the Omnics. At the number 1 spot, I'd say this most likely goes to Sombra. She has clearly caused so much damage to society with her hacks, and when this modern world relies so heavily on technology, having someone like this run rampant is a major problem and concern for most governments. On top of this, she seems to target this very important mysterious figure that does not want to be found. I'd assume whoever this person or group is, they'd put a super high bounty on her to make sure they aren't found. She also clearly plays all sides to get what she wants, and if Talon, or any other group slash organization she messes with, really figures out what she is doing, I could see them putting a major price on her head as well. That's going to conclude my ranking for what I think each hero's bounty would be in comparison to each other. You can let me know in the comments what you think, and if you would switch any of these spots. Thank you all for the support as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Rock skull. All he wants to do is stream all night. Lobby full, rock skull. Never gonna play with me, but it's alright.